to our segment. Be right back.
I can't wait to see you and hold you in my arms. I can't wait for the memories we'll keep inside our hearts. I can't wait, 'cause I've been missing you for oh so long. I can't wait, can't wait. Oh, see, I've been missing you.
Can you guess which of these 3 celebrity couples have been married the longest? Is the answer A, B, or C? You have 7 seconds to give your answer. Time's up. The correct answer is letter B.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. My bad. Hit the wrong button there. We want to introduce ourselves. I'm Callista Randolph Nichols.
And I'm Jeff Nichols.
And we are excited that you're here with us today. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a great discussion about trust in marriage and trust in God, as well as humility. We wanted to touch on some humility because humility is always something that's good to have, let's say. I also wanted to, I went to a visitation last night of a family friend from my childhood. We were always at their house, or they were at ours. Parents were playing cards. Us kids were all only 1 year apart, trickling down the line. And it was just interesting. You know, he was a pastor for part of his lifetime, and he was just a great guy. But the verse that I wanted to share is, "You, my brothers and sisters, are called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love." Galatians 5:13. And with that, I want to bring on our guests, Mark and Sandy Rudge. They are a wonderful example of that Bible verse. They serve one another and serve others humbly in love. And I haven't seen a couple who do that better than these two. So with that, I will bring them on. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. How are you?
Hi. Good, good. How are you?
Yes. We'll find out in a second. We're good. We're just not able to see very well because I'm doing this on my cell phone. So we're relying on YouTube to see what we look like.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we see.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I had to do a little change there. So, well, this morning, I don't know if you saw the opening question, but opening question is about who's a better listener. What do you guys think about that?
We were talking about that on another call, and we really feel like we listen to each other really well. I would say that I'm more likely to forget things that she said to me. That seems to be a male trait.
Well, I also tend to talk to him until he falls asleep, so I don't know exactly when his brain is no longer accepting the story. You know? I'll be like, oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you this. Don't forget, honey.
Don't forget, very important.
Don't forget, and he's like,
Right.
so I do have a bad habit of doing that, and I'm like, wait, did I tell him, or did I dream that I told him?
So who do you think, honey? Who do you think's a better listener?
I don't know. I would say it was me in the beginning, but I don't know. I kind of have, I heard select listening, so I don't know what that's about. But, I can hear and listen at the same time, but I don't know. Sometimes my mind drifts in and out when spoken to.
I'm probably like that too. I flap my jaws a lot, and after a while, it kind of becomes tone deaf. I don't know. But I agree. In the beginning, of our marriage, I feel like he was definitely the better listener. Because in my childhood, we didn't really grow up listening much. It was more about yelling. But by his constant patience and listening, I have learned. I haven't arrived yet, but I have learned better, much better than I was. At least I think so. Am I?
Yeah.
Okay. But well, that's good. I just want to remind our listeners that we are a community of people dedicated to happy, healthy, long-lasting marriages and saving marriages. So that's kind of what we're here to do, what we're about. Like I said, we're glad that you guys are here. And we'll, with our opening question, we kind of already started, but we'll get started right away to respect your time so we don't go over time. They introduced a new thing that they've got going on. And I'm going to show you this. So who knows best? This is a game, and you can get on I Do Me Too, and it'll show you how you can win some prizes. And our prizes are something like this. We've got bags, we've got cups, and we have our cups right here. So just so you kind of have an idea. Oh, there's a cup in white as well. Mine does have something in it, so I can't do that.
Never aprons.
Oh, got aprons too. So there's all kinds of things you can win. But in order to win something, go learn more at www.idometoo.org. So if you go to that, you could win a chance to win some prizes as well. Okay. Now, here's a question for us. Which one is a better listener? Oh, we already discussed that. Whoops. Okay. If your spouse won $1 million lottery, would you be concerned about it changing your relationship? What do you say, and what do you think your spouse would say?
A, not at all. B, it might be a little concerned with that much money. C, I would have serious concern that we would disagree about how to spend it. Or D, absolutely, that much money could lead to a divorce. If your spouse won $1 million lottery, would you be concerned about it changing your relationship? I personally would have to say B. I might be a little concerned about that much money. Me and Calissa have a difference of opinion about money. I like to spend, she like to save. So I guess that would be, we would have to have some type of boundary about, I guess, what our needs are compared to what our wants are. I'm always in the wants and she's always in the needs. So, we would have to probably compromise and come to a mutual understanding about how we would go about spending or how we were going to utilize that money. So
I would probably be B or C even. Um, as much as I hate to say that, he really does like to spend. And so I would have some serious concerns that we would disagree about how to spend it. Because of course I am into saving. I'm into spending when it's something that benefits all of us. But um, you know, we we've been in a season that we've had more than enough, and we're in the season that we are now. And I guess I would probably want to do things like investments, and give our 10% to the church, and not buy so many things. um, I know, so I think I agree with him. We'd have to make a plan and figure out a way to support one another, because finances are a huge factor. And so, but we could disagree and still have a happy marriage. So,
Amen.
all right. What about you guys, Rudges? What do you think?
We both said A's.
A and A, both of us said it.
Because really, I mean, we have actually many times dreamt of what we would do if something like that actually happened, and both of us agree that we'd want to have just like a few little cabins or shacks randomly in different places, so we would have just a little place to live in different areas,
Uh-huh.
like wherever we would want to visit, and that also I don't know, we kind of want some of the same things once we retire. And then I kind of jokingly said to him, and then maybe we could live in the city and bribe the school board to let us still send Drake to Valley.
Almost 15-year-old wants to stay at Valley.
Oh, he really, and we're moving in a couple of months. And so we're trying to find a place that we just need something bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah. But
our boys are getting larger.
Yes, they are.
Right. I know. I feel like that with the car,
And I guess, yeah, we wouldn't really have issues there because we've actually discussed this before. And not that we like play the lottery or anything, but we have, but we said, like, what would happen if we actually won?
There's an old joke. Keeps praying to God to let him win the lottery, and he prays week after week after week, and finally one week he hears this big celestial voice, and it says, "Frank, yes, God, do me a favor, Frank. Yes, God, anything. Buy a lottery ticket."
Guess you can't win. I love it. Have remarks in the chat. Good to see you, the Nichols and Rudges from Aaron, Dr. Aaron.
I saw Dr. Aaron yesterday, live and in person.
Oh,
Work.
we also have It Was a Dream. I can't remember what that might have been about. And then I believe this is Sheldon and Sheila. I don't listen well, but my wife does. That seems to be a theme here. We have also too much wants lead to a lot of need. Okay. Too much wants lead to a lot of need.
I wonder if that's kind of like, no matter how much money you have, you'll always find a way to spend it, and you'll always think, I wish I had more. Maybe.
Yeah, could be. Could be. Do you want to expound on that, Dr. Aaron? Let's see. Oops, I got the wrong one.
I think it was
A, not at all. From another person who's joining us. So I am glad to hear that. Like we said, for Jeff and I, we could always disagree, but still have a happy marriage. And we'd have to sit down and make a plan, so that both of us could agree on it and work together happily with that much money. So
We might have to be like it is now with our checking account. I have my checking account, you have your checking account, and then we have a joint checking account. So I guess we have to split it equally, well, in 3 ways. So, if I go overboard, then I shouldn't be looking for any more from you. If you go overboard, I don't know. You know, this question seems to be popped up all the time. What would you do if you had $1 million? For people who haven't had it, they wish about it. But just like you said, Mark, if you don't buy a lottery ticket, then don't have a chance of doing it. But I was thinking about that. It's like, numerous times I bought a lottery ticket, but then when the number comes out, I don't even check it. So I don't know what, the resources in that either. I could be a winner, but if I don't check the numbers to actually see if I won, I don't know which one is the lesser of two evils in that instance. Not buying a ticket so you can't win, or buying a ticket and you may win but don't even check it. So
I've got even a third one to that. When I was in high school, I worked at a restaurant, and there was the dishwasher. When he got off work every night, he would go buy lottery tickets for everybody. But I was only 16, so even if I won, I couldn't have won anyway.
that would have really stunk.
It's like, if I did win, would he give me the money?
Right.
Or would he just go cash it in?
Dr. Aaron says, Jeff says he is always wanting, and you want to talk about the needs. But if all you do is spend on wants, you will eventually need a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got to focus on some other things with that spending.
Yeah, exactly. Good one. All right. We'll go to the next question here. Oh, did you want to say? Okay. Let's see.
It's like a little bit.
If you found condoms in your spouse's pocket, how would you respond? A, I would ask about the condoms. B, I would ignore the condoms and keep the peace. C, I would throw the condoms away and hope that my spouse mentions them. Or D, I would look or signs that my spouse is unfaithful before mentioning the condoms. Do you want to start?
I would ask about the condoms. I mean, it would just be simple for me. So, I mean, no sense in starting to fester ill will by trying to, quote unquote, keep the peace. So I would just ask about the condoms.
Oh no, I'll come back to that one.
What about you guys, Rudges?
Well, we had seen this question once before, and we both had written E, none of the above, because
we would ask about him.
We were looking for the answer, hey, I'm getting lucky tonight. We talked about it later and decided that really is A, like, hey, am I getting lucky tonight?
What's up with that?
We just decided that we weren't worried about cheating with the other person, but obviously why is there a condom, or are you gonna
what's up?
You gonna get romantic with me tonight? That was where our brains went, so I guess that's a good time.
A little hanky panky for the fun of it. Funny. Well, what do you think, honey?
I don't know. I guess I would have questions, but I guess in the beginning or initial, but I don't know. I would probably not say anything to keep the peace. I have faith in us, and if you had them, it could be for somebody else, or I don't know. I would
She could
have
be
to maybe
brunette.
have to pray about it before I uh expanded on it. I don't know. I can't say for sure because I might blow out the handle, and then I don't know. In this time and age in our relationship, you know, it always could be a logical explanation, but I guess I don't know. Hopefully, my flesh wouldn't lead me to the dark side and you know have to bring out my lightsaber. But I don't know.
We have some chat remarks. Dr. Aaron expounded on, oh, whoops, wrong one. The flesh is never satisfied. That was on top of his, you eventually need a lot. And then he says, hanky panky with each other is always fun. Just saying. With inflation, I might ask, did you use a condom to buy or coupon to buy that? That's funny. Laugh out loud.
Go throw them away.
Right, right. Did you check the expiration date? That's true, huh?
Do you really have them that long?
True.
Do they have expiration dates?
Yeah, they do. They do.
I think if you open the package and it's dust, then it's probably expired.
Oh, funny. Well, these questions are good because sorry, I'm trying to take this graphic off. And even though likes and changes kind of change, no matter how you feel, and when you do things like this, each other's differences and opinions. It shows that you're coming from a different viewpoint. Like for us, it shows that we're coming from a little bit different viewpoint, and we can explain to each other. And it also explains, we can explain differently, because sometimes if we see things from a different angle, it can cause cracks in your marriage, and those cracks can become chasms. If you don't, and you may not even realize it, and it's only because you're seeing it from a different angle. You're seeing a situation from a different angle. So I don't know. Is that okay? I don't know if that made any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that resonated too.
Yes, and I know that Mark and I we kind of see eye to eye in a lot of situations, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that we got together later in life. I think that a lot of people, when they get together when they're younger, they butt heads a lot because they haven't really even developed their entire way of thinking. And so, but also I think because Mark and I, we're politically involved, like, I mean, not like we're politicians or anything like that, but just that we vote even on the really low level, local and everything, and we don't just vote down one party. We decide exactly, like, the person, what have they been doing, and who are we actually going to vote for. So in that way, we're able to sometimes say, in other situations in our marriage, where I don't really agree with that, but because we we're naturally the type of people that kind of dissect things and really, kind of pick it apart to say, well, this is why I feel this way. That we're able to disagree without arguing.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Like
Yeah.
we're able to debate without arguing.
The funny thing is with Jeff and I that the only time that we really, because we as well, like, June 7th, we're getting ready to go, do some voting and
6.
or 6th, sorry. But the funny thing is that the only thing that Jeff and I ever really argued about in politics was Trump. And it wasn't because we disagreed in our position. It was because I was always so appalled. And he's like, this guy. Why are you appalled?
Mm,
I think he
good point.
just got sick of hearing me say I'm so appalled that he would do this. But,
Yeah, he was who he was. There was no doubt who he was. He's not a secret.
right.
Sandy, you made an excellent point, and I wish more people, and even politicians, would get to this level or that level that you just talked about. You can have an argument, you can be on different sides, but I always thought the mutual thing to do, if you disagree about a certain situation, try to find a common ground. And if you find a common ground, doesn't mean that, I'm over to your side, doesn't mean you're over to my side. We just naturally agree to disagree, but how can we find a common goal that's going to have peace or enable other people's lives? I think that, not to get on a political stance on this show, is that, I wish our politicians would put their own agenda aside and deal what's best for the people that put them there in office. Sometimes I think they forget that and try to push their own agenda across. And, we're in a state that we're in now. And even in our marriage, we have come across this recently, and, we see differently. And I don't know, it's just makes it more beneficial, feel like we're together as one if we can find a common ground. You know, hey, I'm not going to say maybe you are right and maybe I'm right. Maybe we're both right, but you know, how can we put this that's going to make our relationship grow? How can we be in one accord instead of, you know, I don't know, being in, I'm the kind of person, and maybe I haven't shown it recently, but I like peace and I don't like arguing. I can, when, like I said, when we first got together, I think I was a better listener because I like listening to you and because I have a sense of seeing things on more than one side. I think that's God's thing that He gave me, that I don't always look at the first thing that comes to my head. I think it in other ways. I don't know. It's just a sense that I have. And, I don't know. I think that, arguing just prolongs coming to a solution. And, the sooner we can come to a solution, the sooner I can have peace. So
That is true. We have a comment. Why do you think that some people avoid asking about it?
asking about what?
Yeah.
I think
That's
condoms.
Oh, condoms?
Oh.
Some people might just not want to know.
Mm.
I mean, not anything to do with condoms, but when I was growing up, with anytime, something that had to do with my mom, she just wanted to be blissfully ignorant. She didn't want to know that we were getting in trouble. She just tried to completely act like nothing was ever happening. and so yeah, that makes me think of that. It's probably because the alternate is that they'll actually might find out something that they don't want to find out.
Yeah, I agree. And, they just don't want to deal with it, I think that A lot of people are that way. I would rather just ignore it so I don't have to even deal with it. And who cares what's going on, which is really, I mean, it's a sad state to be in, but there are people who deal with it like that. Okay. Dr. Aaron says we can work it out. And life is very short, and there's no time for fussing and fighting. That is so true. That is so true.
Great Beatles song too.
Right? That is a great Beatles song.
Started singing it. Yeah, we're over here singing it as soon as she said
that. Fun. Okay. Well, I am going to play our couples Bible study here. Give me just a moment.
Now is time to explore Bible-based answers to real-life issues with questions that help get a better understanding about the Bible verse for our featured topic. You can find the interactive lesson in assignments at idometoo.org. Click to access this week's assignments, and then go to number 2 to complete Bible study lesson, and click Go to Interactive Bible Study. Click Start Course, and then just scroll through the lesson and get started. Now, let's get started with the Bible verse and study questions.
We had to travel the world of our past to realize it was harder before, 'cause we weren't by each other's side. Maybe it took a little longer to know together we're stronger. That's the way our love survived. Now we've gone through the fire. Love will take us higher, higher than it was before we went through love and war. See the promised land, walking hand in hand. Now that we can understand what we were fighting for, fighting for love, love, fighting for love.
All right, we're back. Here is our Bible verse.
Command those who are rich in this present age not to be haughty, nor to trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God, who gives us richly all things to enjoy. 1 Timothy 6:17.
Okay. One of the first questions, we'll push through these because we also want to talk about humility. One of the first questions is, what does it mean to command? Why is it difficult to command those who are rich? What do you think, Regis?
Well, I know a lot of the issues I've had with religion over the years has had to do with people using it as power or a way to get money in their pockets. And of course, Jesus hated that too when he drove them out of the temple because they were doing the wrong things in God's name. I've always had issues with religious leaders that are clearly just using religion to help them get into a bigger house, bigger bank account, have more power over people. And that looks a lot of different ways. You know, the Catholic Church has had issues with not so much with wealth, although the Vatican is an opulent place. Priests and such, you know, they're using power over people in their church to do things that they want. And when religion starts getting used for that stuff, it's just an ugly, ugly thing. And I think that's, the reason why we never saw Jesus lose his temper, except for when you he was dealing with the hypocrites, dealing with using the money changers and stuff like that.
Well, and that's why a lot of people, they get easily frustrated by Christians, when they see this opulence happening with these pastors and church leaders, and they get frustrated by that because they're not living that lifestyle either, and they love the Lord just as much as those people do, so
Yeah. And it's been going on for thousands of years. We saw it with the money changers, and we saw it in the Middle Ages when people were Catholics versus Protestants and killing each other in the name of God when we both believed in Jesus. Anything to do with the Crusades, trying to take Jerusalem just because our side is better than yours, so we're going to kill you, and none of the love that Jesus or Paul talked about being the most important thing. It was all about power and riches, and yeah, that's hard. That's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah. Do you want to comment?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to move on to question 2. What does it mean to be haughty? Have you been haughty? If so, how?
I don't know. What is haughty? I need to look that up real quick.
Haughty is arrogant, like you know everything.
Arrogant, that I know everything.
My dad used to say that he knows everything in the world. He just can't remember it all at one time.
Yeah, my dad used to tell me, I have learned and forgotten more than you know.
Yeah, learn and forgot.
Yeah. So, that's what it kind of means to be haughty. I feel like I used to be, and I think a lot of people go through this when they're in their late teens and early 20s. I think we're in that stage in our lives where we do think we know everything, and I often joke about when I turned 30, I began to realize that I really knew nothing. It's like I in my 20s I thought I knew everything, and when I turned 30, it's like all of a sudden a light bulb came on that well, I know a few things, but I really don't know much of anything, so I feel like I've changed since Christ came into my life. I have more reasons to be humble and thankful and grateful. What about you?
I don't know. It says the definition is blatantly and disdainfully proud, having or showing an attitude of superiority and contempt for people or things. And I was thinking, have I ever been haughty? I probably honestly have. I don't know if I. Oh no, I would have to examine. I could say honestly, I don't ever remember trying to be inferior over anybody else, but maybe.
I know that's a tough one.
I would say probably college, like early college. Totally, you're all full of piss and vinegar and everything,
Right.
But at the same time, I grew up in the South, and they didn't exactly paint the true picture of history when we were in public school. And so once I got to college and found out a lot of the truth, I hated this country. I wanted to move to Europe. I was all just like, yeah, I was probably very haughty then, because I was just like, I'm better than this government, doing a lot of punk and all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I've been there. But really, it takes up too much energy, and like also stress goes to my stomach, and I'd like to eat, sometimes. So
Yeah.
acting like
It,
that,
yeah.
it's nothing but just damaging internally. I feel like once I think you get to a certain age. Some people get to a certain age where they are like, it's not worth it. I'd like to live longer, and some people never get over themselves.
Right.
So
That was a good point that you made. It is energy draining.
yeah,
To think you know it all and have to argue your points all the time. It's just energy draining, you know. I have several people in my family that are that way. And
mhm.
it seems like they're always angry too, you know. So you that was a very good point that you made that it's energy draining. It really is.
Not worth it. That's not.
Exactly. You want to read that?
What are uncertain riches? Why do people trust in uncertain riches? Well, probably because they think it's maybe going to bring them some type of power and prestige. I guess we would think about what is an uncertain rich. Is money an uncertain rich? Is property an uncertain rich? Is cars? And probably anything material could be an uncertain rich. And, if we obtain to get those things, and if I was to think those things that I'm obtaining is going to bring me the happiness that I think it may, and it doesn't, then I'm just confusing myself. Just like, if I won $1 million, I probably want to go out and get a nice sports car and, think that that might make me happy. And in all truthfulity, it probably wouldn't. I probably would just, as other things in my life, try to it be a conquest. And then once I get it, then I'm on to the next thing. So, you know, I'm not really truly happy until I let the Lord in my life and just be happy where I am. Maybe He has me on a road that I need to be on to get me to a place that He needs to use me. And things around me isn't going to get that, but He will allow me to experience that. And then, as we're going to get to, become humble and have some humility in our life where He can use me, because it's all about Him. It isn't about me. So I have to learn those lessons, though, in order to become humble, that we're going to get into. So,
Um, there was also a comment from Dr. Aaron. Wisdom rooted in the Word, along with education and experience, make me aware that there is so much more to learn.
Yeah.
Every day, there's so much more to learn.
We can't actually know it all at once.
Right, right. And uncertain riches is something that's not sustainable. Um, it's up and or it's down. It never stays the same. You're
Even your health could be an uncertain rich, because
right.
that could be something that you take pride in, and that you're so healthy, and then just
Yeah.
anything can
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
And
exactly. And
definitely,
go ahead.
sorry, in the last couple of years, we've seen that anything can just come along and blindside us.
Oh,
We've been like in practically post-apocalyptic times in the past few years. I know we can laugh because we've lived through it, but it's not funny. But yeah, like we can see that anything can just come along, and somebody could be totally, have a lot of possessions, and they just neglected to get insurance, and then their apartment burns down.
hmm,
Anything can happen, and you can lose it all at once. I think that's what an uncertain is. It's anything that can just disappear. So the
right.
things that are the certain riches are more like our relationships, because like they're not just going to out of nowhere just boom fall apart. I mean, that either takes a major thing happening, or over a long period of time of something dwindling. But it's a certain rich, because like I have a certain rich that I have of the love of my children and my husband and the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. And anytime you're putting your trust or your faith in uncertain riches, it's you know, card, a house of cards waiting to fall, you know. So
House with moths eating things and thieves. I can't remember what the Bible verse is, but that's biblical. Just that stuff on this earth is going to go away one way or another.
yeah, exactly. So Sandy, tell me a little bit about humility.
Humility. Well, I guess really just not wanting to praise yourself. I actually I struggle with it sometimes because like I like to perform, but I don't like anybody to tell me I did a good job, and I don't want to see it, and I don't want to see a video of it or anything like that. And so that's a little bit too far in the other direction. But I think a lot of performers are like that. That they're just like, no, stop it. Like, I'm glad you loved it, but stop it. But when it comes to relationships, humility, I would really say that it comes to, like, you do have to trust somebody in order to have humility towards them, because you're kind of being vulnerable. Well, not kind of, you're being very vulnerable when you have humility. And so if you're going to be vulnerable towards someone, you have to be able to trust them, that they're not going to push it too far in the other direction and hurt you. And I think some people who have been in abusive types of relationships do tend to go either in one extreme direction or the other. They're either like way too submissive, because they just want to avoid conflict, or they're way more conflicting because they're so guarded and they don't want to be hurt again. So humility, it definitely is something that you have to be able to trust somebody. But if you've had a track record that is bad in the past, it's hard to let that guard down, to let that shield down, and I actually be humble and yeah. So I guess yeah, that's it.
Right. What did you say? What did you look up the definition?
Well, I looked it up and it says freedom from pride or arrogance. And it says, what is humility in a biblical way? It says, biblical humility means believing what God says about you over anyone else's opinion, including your own. And I would agree, humility is trusting what God says you are over what anyone else says. Humility means to me putting others first, and just believing that who you are. It's hard to I don't know. Freedom from pride or arrogance, I don't know. We have to have it's something that I have to ask for daily and seek out daily, because I often forget, and I can often get into the flesh, and the flesh can lead me to believe any type of thing that I wanted to make me believe, I guess, so to speak, or change my viewpoint. So being humble and asking for humility is something that I seek daily, because I don't want to be above anybody else. I just want to be on an equal plane, and have God lift me to lift you in certain situations that may come across in our daily lives.
Yeah. So humility is quite the opposite of haughty. Because haughty's puffed up. And right, and so and the thing about humility is, like with our spouses, this is God's child. And who am I? Who am I to admonish him, or even be a right fighter? You know, because nobody's right all the time. So who am I to tell him that he's wrong? I mean, there are times in love we can say, look, I disagree with that. But there again comes in the fact that we come from different backgrounds. We might see things from a different viewpoint. And that's where the humility comes in. You know, I have to know that I'm God's child as well. And he has to know that he's God's child. And we're both coming from a place that we believe is right. But once again, we don't want to be a right fighter. You know, both of us are gifted children of God, but different, but very different. And I appreciate the gift that God gave to me in my spouse. So for humility, I have to work on that every day too. I think humility is something that we have to ask for frequently. I have to ask frequently to remind me that I'm God's child, but also he's God's child. Or the person across the aisle that just ran over your toe with the shopping cart is God's child, you know, and didn't say I'm sorry, you know. We have to remember that we're all God's children and he loves us all the same. So that's kind of my thought about humility. How about you, Mark? You got any thoughts about humility?
Yeah, I guess when I hear the word pride, I kind of have mixed emotions because you should be proud of things you do without being conceited or, arrogant. So, it's something that we teach our children. Hey, you did a good job on that. We want them to be proud of who they are and what they did. But there's definitely a line in there where people take it too far and proud because they want everybody to respect them and command authority over them, that haughty thing. So, so yeah, I just want to make sure I don't cross that line.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think? Got anything else? Okay. Humility, I think that one of the things that Jeff, when he was doing a little research on humility, it says that humility opens the door to truth. And I thought that was a very good statement.
Yeah.
You know, because if you have an open mind, then you're going to be open to truths that you may not have considered otherwise. So
it says humility opens the door to truth. To seek God in his truths, we must become humble. Without humility, God will not open the door, and our seeking will be fruitless. We are warned that when we are proud, vain, or seek riches, the Heavenly Father is displeased with us.
Yeah, that brings up the image of Jesus riding into Jerusalem. The Jews expected a warrior on a big horse with armor and a sword to come defeat Rome, and he rode in on a donkey. He was very clear about who he was. I'm not here to do what you think I'm here to do. I'm here to do something much more important than that.
right.
So, even Jesus knew how to project humility.
Especially when he washed other people's feet.
Oh, yeah. Great
Oh,
example.
that's a very good one. Yes. Yes.
It brought me back to the saying. The saying that came to my mind was when the lady came through and he asked the people around them because they were down on her and wanted those stones, and he was like, for the first one that is without sin, cast a stone on her. So it isn't like we don't have sin, so who are we to say what somebody else's sin is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't be too proud. Just like I agree with you, Mark, and I was thinking about Jay when you brought that analogy to. I was like, I want to award him and say what a good job you're doing, but not to make your head get too big. There's going to have to be a fine line that we all have crossed. We can, like Sandy said, be proud of what we've done, but at the same time, well, it's for all of us to learn that lesson. We also have to become humble and have humility. So we can be, as parents, there's a line in here. Also, I was reading this and it said that parents are, we as parents have the utmost humility because we change diapers, we clean bathrooms, we do other things for our family. So I know for me, when I'm cleaning the bathroom, it brings me down to my knees. And then when I clean it, I want to be the first one to use it, and I never am. So
That's true. That's so true.
I get humble every time I clean the bathroom. I have humility.
We should all clean the bathroom every day.
Yeah.
Or finding that one thing that stinks in the fridge.
Yeah.
And and instead of just throwing away the whole Tupperware, actually dumping it out and cleaning it. But I will admit, I have a few times just took the Tupperware out and threw it in the garbage because I was like, no.
Right. It's not worth the gag.
You have to breathe through your mouth, but you're afraid you're going to taste it.
Oh, funny.
Yes,
All right. All right, guys. Well, I think that's just about it. Please visit the website, www.idometoo.org. We would love for you to join us on any of the broadcasts. There are broadcasts on, sorry guys, trying to get my act together here today, I guess. There are broadcasts on Monday nights with the Sloans, on Tuesday nights with the Jamals, and on Saturday mornings with us, the Nichols. With the Rudges also joining us in co-hosting occasionally and helping us out as well. We adore all of you. And with that, I will put in the closing. Thank you so much for joining us, Rudges. We enjoy your input and we love you both very much.
Thanks for having us. We love you guys.
Thank you.
We had to travel the world of our past to realize it was harder before cause we weren't by each other's side. Maybe it took a little longer to know together we're stronger. That's the way our love survived. Now we've gone through the fire. Love will take us higher, higher than it was before we went through love and war. See the promised land, walking hand in hand. Now that we can understand what we were fighting for. Fighting for love, love, love. Fighting for love.
Right.
You're just going. Are you hailing a taxi? Or are you?
Okay, end stream.